Welcome to A View from the Summit. This is Blake Higginbotham coming to you live from my basement office and studio. Today I'm going to be sharing a message with you entitled The Signet of a Son. The Signet of a Son. I believe it to be an important message, especially in this hour when you're hearing a lot of terminologies thrown around. We're rethinking, we're redefining. You hear the word DNA. Which a few years back we used the word DNA and we just went ahead and tagged it divine nature attitude. Now you're hearing DNA used in a lot of different ways, and I want to talk to you about signet because that's a more biblical terminology, although it's okay to talk about DNA and divine nature attitude and identifying those who have your DNA, and there has been some level of impartation of your heart into their life. It's perfectly all right. However, it's not necessarily the case in some of the ways that it's being used and applied. And I just want to make sure that we're moving along in the right direction. I'm looking forward to this. It'll take probably a few sessions to develop it, but we're going to, in this first 30-minute session, we're going to cover what we can. The Signet of a Son, Part 1. The word signet actually comes from the Hebrew word kotham. I believe that's how it's properly pronounced. It may be chotham, but we're just going to pronounce it the best that we can today. But it means a signature ring, a seal, and a signet. It comes from the Hebrew root word, which is chotham, which is it means to close up, especially to seal, to make an end, mark, seal up, or stop. And you can find that particular word, chotham or chotham, used in Genesis 38. Verses 18, Exodus 28 verses 36, and Haggai 2 verses 23. And we're not going to read those passages of scripture, but we are, I'm just referring to them so you'll know that the word signet and what it means. And I'm going to say that again. It's like a signature ring or a seal or a signet. In other words, the sign. In other words, it's something that you can recognize in someone. When they have the signet of the Father or the DNA of the Father, and more specifically those that are walking with us, when you can tell whenever there's been an impartation of a signet, and the signet has impressed a deep signet on them, or there's a seal upon their life. You can tell. Now that's the easiest way to understand it, but you need to understand that signet is a seal used officially to give personal authority to a document in lieu of signature, and impression made by or as a part by a signet. And you remember in the old days they had signet rings, and they dipped it in sealing wax and would actually drop sealing wax on the envelope or document and seal that envelope or document. It could probably an important document with that signet ring, and when the signet ring went into the seal and it dried, then if it was not open, if it was not cracked, then they knew that envelope or document had not been opened prior to the decree being made. So this message is actually coming out of two ongoing discussions that I have been having with several apostles and prophets over the past few weeks and months. One of the things that we have been talking about is the difference between influence and impartation as it pertains to real and living relationship. And we've also been comparing notes about the limited level of impact involving many of our past relationships, and have come to some soft conclusions as to how we can better reach a fatherless generation and thereby leave a living legacy. I'm not saying that we have all the answers yet, but I can assure you that we've arrived at a better conclusion concerning part our part in the process. And so just hang in there with me as we develop this. I really began to think about this a long time ago. I was kind of wondering why that influence didn't always translate into authority, and why authority didn't always translate into impartation, and why there were fewer people that ever really received an impartation of the Father's heart in me. And while they developed all of the language, and they developed some of the mannerisms and the skills, they never really did receive the essence of my heart. They basically spent a lot of time interpreting my heart, and that's usually what got them into trouble and visited a lot of trouble on me. And I think you'll identify this. I don't need people defending what I say, and I don't need the truth that I walk in and the integrity that I walk in will defend me. I don't need for people to feel like that they have to somehow be my Praetorian guard when it comes to defending what I say or what I do. But they need to receive the heart and the spirit of what I represent and what I'm saying to them, and they need to walk in that, and that's going to take some time, because they've got to learn your way. And they really got to learn the Father's way, because that's what you're walking in and representing is the Father's way. And he's probably worked or beat it into you, and so he's got your attention already. But it takes a while for young men and women, and for young believers, and for even more mature believers and leaders to really embrace the heart and spirit of the Father in you. And so I want to talk about something that I've been saying for a number of years. All relationship starts with fellowship. All relationship starts with fellowship. And what we've got to be careful about in this day and hour is in a day when we have a lot of technology available, and we have social networking. I find that people no longer really call and talk on the phone. I find that very few people like to email and communicate in that way. They want to blast it to their wall, and if you comment, they want to blast back a short thought to you, or they won't. If they respond to something on your wall, then it gives you an opportunity to comment. Now, I know this is foreign to some, and I'm going to tell you what it's going to do. It's actually going to develop a level of anxiety in the people that are engaging in this type of communication, because there's no way to capture someone's heart, feeling, and emotion in a written post on a wall, or a tweet, or even in an email. And I've had a lot of people respond to my post and to my emails in a derogatory way, with some vehement disagreement, because they don't really know my heart or what I'm saying. They're just responding to the way the words fall on their ears, or what they translate the words to mean as it pertains to them. First of all, when you get to know me, you'll find out that I do not use situation ethics to convey a point, or to speak to a topic or an issue. I do not. I know a lot of people do not know any other way but to beat around the bush, hint, use politically correct verbiage in order to communicate, and you will never you will never hear anybody accuse Blake Higginbotham of using politically correct verbiage in order to communicate. However, I am gracious, and I am a lot more patient than people have given me credit for over the years. My personality is extrovert. It's strong, but at the same time, I'll be honest with you, I took that test, and I really tested out balanced in all four personality character traits. And so, I'm melancholy as well. along with being extroverted. And I mean, that type A apostle, that type A personality. But that's not necessarily who I am, and it's not necessarily what I convey in everything that I say and do. But you need to understand something. If you knew me, you'd probably laugh at the post that you felt like was a little bit pungent or too pointed or straightforward. You'd probably laugh because a lot of it involves humor. A lot of it involves my sense of humor and the way I communicate. And so, once you get to know me better, you might find that some of the things I say and do are not that offensive after all, and it's really just a way to maintain your sanity and to laugh at yourself and at life a little bit. And so, that'll never happen, though, as long as we've got a virtual relationship online, or occasionally we think about calling one another, and we call and I'll be honest, I don't mind talking to people on the phone that will communicate over the telephone and not just crunch ice on the phone while I'm talking or expect me to carry the conversation. I don't have a problem communicating with people over the phone that are not always in a hurry. Have you noticed that how many times you call different individuals? I mean, they're always busy or in the middle of something and they don't have any time to talk. Well, that's not how they want to be treated, honey. Let me tell you that right now. I guarantee you, if they want to talk to somebody, they're going to call them and expect to get their attention and an audience. So, let's just put it like it is. If you're that busy, then you're too busy for real and living relationship. We're probably never going to get to know one another anyway. But all relationship starts with fellowship. Note, we can fellowship most anybody. I said we can fellowship most anybody. These are levels of relationship. If you'll hear my heart on this matter, I think you'll know that you're probably saying, no, there's just no way. I cannot stand to be around that person. That's not. Listen, you better get used to it, shepherds of Israel. You better get used to it, whether you're an apostle, prophet, evangelist, pastor, or teacher. We're all shepherds in Israel, especially if you're a mature believer and an elder brother, and you might as well get used to some irritating little sheep coming around wanting some attention. And some of them are going to have burrs, and they're going to have cuts and bruises, and they're going to need some help. Okay? Now listen, we can fellowship with most anybody, but how can two walk together unless they agree? That's the question, isn't it? How can two walk together unless they agree? Where there is no agreement, there is no added strength. The reason that you have so much trouble relating to people and having a social life is because beyond fellowship it requires some agreement, and when you don't agree, in order to avoid confrontation and in order to avoid an uncomfortable situation, you withdraw more than likely. And in some cases you think people are judging you all the time, or they're looking down on you, that you're in their estimation you're less than what you think of yourself. But that's not the case. I can tell you that I'm socially, I'm probably not as skilled as I could be, but I am a people person, and I don't have a problem carrying my own weight in the natural, in the spirit, or in any setting. And so that may not be your personality. However, I'm going to share something with you. That the new creation believer, even their personality is changed. If you tend to be a shy, timid, and backward personality, Yahweh's going to fine-tune that and tweak you and mellow you out in some areas and make you a little bit more assertive and aggressive in the ways that you need to. And it's never going to come out perfect in your mind. But the bottom line is that when you love Him and you love His people, you can't be afraid of what they may say or think, about you, and you certainly can't withdraw from those who he's sending to you, or those that are reaching out to you. And so, if you don't like the social aspect of relationship, then why are you in the ministry anyway? And I'm one of those guys that'll be messing with you because I know what it means to feel like staying at the house and living in a cave the rest of your life, or sitting up on the side of a pond fishing. I know how much fun that would be, and I know how I would like to just have my little cabin out in the middle of nowhere, away from everybody, and just write songs and then send them via internet to a publisher and just have no real human contact sometimes. I know how that feels. But the truth is that if you are someone that requires attention, the attention of a crowd, and you require to have people around you all the time, he's going to work on you too. And so I know how easy it is for people to get bored, especially when you're younger. And if you don't have music playing, or the television on, or you're not playing with a toy, a video game, or one of your trinkets, you just have a problem really being quiet and still. Well, if you're that kind of a noisy individual, he may let you spend a little bit more time in solitary confinement alone with him, until such time you really begin to enjoy his presence and understand that you're never alone. And I know that what I'm saying is not easy to swallow, but the bottom line is you can't be in the ministry, you can't be a son of Yahweh, and you can't be a kingdom man and be antisocial. It just isn't going to fly in this day and hour. You may need to reconsider what you're supposed to be doing. Our musicians and authors are the world's worst, but there's probably some more in there too. But where there is no agreement, there is no added strength, and where there is no added strength, relationship becomes unbearable. Where the power of agreement is present, strength is increased 9,000 times. Man, if there has ever been a truth that I wish I could communicate to people when it comes to this pseudo attempt to ecumenical unity and oneness, and this false starts that we've all experienced in things. Well, we're going to come together and we're going to do the work of the Lord together and all that garbage. Listen, I want to tell you something. If you don't learn to reach to one another and fellowship and befriend one another and love one another with brotherly love and affection, you aren't ever going to agree enough to be able to walk together. It just isn't going to happen. You have to find some common ground upon which to stand and walk together. And in order to do it long term, you're going to have to begin to understand the importance of covenantal relationship beyond what you do together. The covenantal relationship is way bigger than what you do together. It's about your lives together. It's about what I add to, what you add to. Well, the covenantal relationship doesn't take from someone; it adds to, and love never takes. Love gives. You see, we're in a give and take society. We're in a consumer driven society. People don't relate usually in society unless they can benefit from it. And so, certainly relationship has to be ordained of Yahweh, and it certainly has to be to the glory of Yahweh, and there is some mutual benefit. But let me tell you something. Whenever you start placing a demand on a relationship that has never been established, and that really you have nothing in common, it's just something you want, so therefore, by God, they better give it to me. You can just count on this. you're going to reach for something that is like an elusive butterfly or like Bigfoot. You're never going to lay hold of him. Are you listening to me? Relax. Enjoy your life. And enjoy the people that Yahweh sends to you that you have enough in common with to relate at levels that really help shape your life and character, and at levels that you can appreciate each other and others like you as well. You know, it's not good enough just to relate to one or two people because you get along with them. What are you going to do whenever you encounter someone that you can't get along with, or that you have to try to get along with? What are you going to do then? And I hear some of you whining out there and saying, well, we've already met that person once or twice. Well, guess what? You ain't all that in a bag of chips either. So, how about that? And you know, the thing about it is that you might not be the easiest thing in the world to love either. Did you ever think about that? All right then. All right, let's move on. You see? But you see, where the power of agreement is present, strength is increased 9,000 times. Now, this is a spiritual law and a biblical principle truth. And you need to embrace this biblical principle truth and this spiritual law. That when the universe, when the spirit realm, when life brings someone into your realm, into your world, into your sphere of influence and rule, which involves government, with whom you can agree, and with whom you can relate, and with whom you can walk, listen to me, almost overnight exponential growth begins to take place because of blessing and favor on that union. It becomes more like a marriage than you know, and in the spirit, man, I'm telling you what, it's just a wonderful thing to know you're going to wake up and have a friend or a brother or a relationship you can count on at that level. It means something to know that when you pick up the phone that somebody's going to be on the other end of it, or when you put a call out, somebody's going to be able to come or at least reach towards you in prayer. And you know what? You don't even have to worry about that when you're related at that level. And it's important that you hear what I'm saying today. I know when that kind of relationship is being established, because I find myself thinking about the people that I'm related to and wondering what's going on in their life, and then I may even hear something that's going on in their life. I may even start praying in the Spirit for them, and Holy Spirit might reveal details about how I need to pray for them. And I'm a man that believes in giving gifts, not always expecting somebody to give you one, but in giving gifts and reaching out to people and blessing them. Okay? Now listen to this. Relationship truly born of the Spirit is ordained of Yahweh. Relationship that is truly born of the Spirit is ordained of Yahweh. Relationship ordained of Yahweh will be forged in the fire of conflict and tempered by His grace. Relationship is seasoned by understanding, and His love endures forever. Relationship is as diverse and complex as marriage and life itself. Relationship must be nurtured, developed, and carefully protected. I want to cover those again because I don't have but 5 more minutes in this first part, and that is important. Number 1, all relationship starts with fellowship, summarizing. Number 2, relationship truly born of the Spirit is ordained of Yahweh. Number 3, relationship ordained of Yahweh will be forged in the fire of conflict and tempered by His grace. And number 4, relationship is seasoned by understanding, and His love endures forever. Number 5, relationship is diverse and complex as marriage and life itself. And number 6, relationship must be nurtured, developed, and carefully protected. Oh, hallelujah. Woo! My Lord. I mean, these are all truths that I've come to better understand over the years because, of the work that He's done in me. But you know what? They're still being perfected. And we're still walking out some things, and we're still walking out relationships. Relationships are a challenge. And that's what most people don't like, because in order to accept a challenge, you got to be committed. And we live in a non-committal society that wants everything to happen right for them the first time. And I know first impressions still, are the primary cause that people don't relate. I just didn't like that guy when I met him. There was just something about them that he just irritated me or graded me the wrong way. You know what? I'll be honest with you. Yahweh could care less what makes you feel comfortable or makes you feel all warm and fuzzy. He could care less about that. He's trying to work something into you by bringing somebody into your life that you're going to have to love that's different than you are. Amen? And so let's just go ahead and finish up this first session. 3 things we've learned about relationship, and these are the 3 primary things we've learned. One-sided relationship usually involves unrealistic expectations and or obligations, and therefore is codependent in nature. Number 2, sons will parrot your soulish and carnal behavior before they will receive your spiritual impartation. My God, we must remember that while we may be called to the same purpose, that our assignments may be very different. However, if we can find common ground, then His love and grace will propel us forward in the work together. Let me say those again. These are 3 things that I've learned and that we're learning about relationship. One-sided relationship usually involves unrealistic expectations and or obligations, and therefore is codependent in nature. You're going to have to find a way for there to be some level of responsibility for and accountability to, and there's got to be some level of mutual agreement, and there's got to be, in every relationship, there's got to be an interdependence upon one another. There's got to be enough trust. And I'm really sad. It's really sad to find mature believers and experienced veteran leaders that have such a trust issue when it comes to just basic relationship. If they don't agree with you about something, or if they feel like there could be a potential clash in an area, usually at an intellectual or soulish level more so than a heart level, they just won't have very much to do with you. And I'm here to tell you something, that if you're no more open than that, and your philosophy and doctrine is so flimsy that it cannot withstand a little flexibility and bending, then brothers and sisters, let me tell you something, you're in for a rude awakening. One of the things that I learned a long time ago is that my absolutes are really quicksand. And if you're not careful, your absolutes, Yahweh will have to blow them up and blow them away, and actually bring you to a place of not having any faith in what you believe to be true in order to get the truth to you. And it's really not the truth in fact He's trying to get to you, and the truth in reality He's trying to get to you. It's the truth as it pertains to His truth and His heart and His way. Oh Lord. Now you're preaching, Brother Blake. Now listen. We must remember that while we may be called to the same purpose, that our assignments may be very different. However, if we can find common ground, then His love and grace can propel us forward in the work together. This is Blake Higginbotham with a view from the summit, and this has been the first part of the Signet of the Son. Blessings in Yahshua's name.